Hello everyone. Hope you're doing great today. We are back again with another live session with Mr. Anil Khwaja. Welcome Anil. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you so much for being with us. So today we have Mara agent Anil Khwaja with us. In this live session, we are discussing about the right course which will lead to the right skill assessment in the right occupation. On top of that, we have got a bonus topic for you where we will be discussing about the GT statement, how to write that with perfection. So starting with our live session today, we will be starting with our very first question, that what are the courses that leads to the full skill assessment without any work experience?
Very good question, Aman. And I think this is the ideal question to start this session. Now, lots of people, technically those who are onshore or even offshore,
Yeah.
they take a study pathway in order to apply for permanent residency. Now, lots of agents do give them the options to go with straight away, go to the, either a trade occupation or very small, sort of like a cheaper options to go for. But technically, those cheaper options or those option leads to a bigger hassle down the line.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you do a trade qualification, you need to do a job ready program.
Yes.
Now, job ready program requires you have an employer.
Yeah.
Who can help you out lodging an app, the job ready program, and then it's going to take another 1 year to do it. So what we do normally, we advise them the courses which leads to direct skill assessment. You don't require any employer to rely on.
Yes.
Okay, now for instance, the first one I'll tell you, the nursing.
Yeah.
So nursing is one of the best occupation which you might have heard. Everybody should have heard about this one by now. They only requires you to finish the study, get 7 each in IELTS or equivalent PT. But even you don't need 7 each or equivalent PT straight away. You can merge two tests in order to get your skill
Yeah.
assessment done as well. So first you do a rep registration and straight away then go to the NMAC, and that's it. And then you apply for an expression of interest, and then ultimately the permanent residency. So quite a quicker and a very fast-paced process, and don't require any sort of employer to go with the assessment.
Yes.
Now, the second foremost is the engineering one. Now, everybody knows the engineers don't require any experience to get their skill assessment done. Only what they need to do is to do in a specific course. We lots of peers, clients nowadays, we ask them to do advanced diploma of telecom, or they do the diploma of telecom leading to advanced diploma or an advanced diploma of civil engineering design. And there are some other engineering occupations which you can select. There's those all requires to write a CDR or go to a Washington Accord straight away to the skill assessment pathway. So technically you don't require any skill assessment in order to, sorry, not a skill assessment, experience to apply for the skill assessment. That leads to a direct permanent residency pathway as well. Third one, we have it social work. So if you do a bachelor of social work, then technically you don't require any experience. You can directly do the social work with an accredited course and straight away apply as a social work. That also leads to a direct permanent residency. Now the fourth one, which is quite interesting, that is called the early childhood teachers.
Perfect.
Now, lots of people have speculation that early childhood leads to a very tough skill assessment because they require somewhere around English academic, especially IELTS academic, with 8 overall, no man less than 7.5. So 8.877, it's quite tough to get it.
Yeah.
Now, in this scenario, you don't need to. So, say for instance, if you do a bachelor of early childhood or a diploma leading to a bachelor of early childhood, that leads to a direct skill assessment without even going with the work experience, and even you don't require in English to do the AITSL assessment. That leads to a direct permanent residence in a sense that you know how quickly the early childhood teachers are getting the PR.
Yeah, that's right.
Only on 65 points.
Yeah.
Similar to nursing. So these are the occupations which you can choose the right course to apply for right skill assessment and a right PR.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much for that, Anil. And while we were just discussing about this one, so let me just ask you one more question. So when we complete the 4 years in the bachelor's in early childhood education, so there is no English required at all?
Yes. So see, there are two requirements. We will educate more to our
Yeah.
clients, so at least they know how to process this. Now, first is there is a requirement of English to get enrolled into the course.
Yeah.
That all universities or the providers, education provider, colleges, they require. So that is overall 6.5, no less than 6. Now you can also have a lesser scores, and you can go with an LLM test or internal English test to pass that one. But yes, once you finish commencing, once you finish the enrollment and start commencing the course, then you only need to study for 4 years. So generally, the bachelor of early childhood education is for 4 years.
Yeah.
So once you finish that one, either you do from diploma to bachelor's or direct bachelor's, then you don't require any English.
Yeah.
Straight away go with it. And then, but yes, for the PR, you require minimum 6 each in order to meet the general
Yeah.
skill migration requirement. But technically, you don't need to do more English or whatever the English test you're going for. Yeah.
Yeah. And while we were just talking about the engineering occupation here, you mentioned the word Washington Accord. Can you
Yes.
please give more information on that?
Yes. So, very good question. And I believe this is, I think, the right time to let the people know what exactly the Washington Accord is. Now, Washington Accord is an accord between different countries' engineering councils. So, if your course or your university comes under that accord, then technically you don't need to write the CDRs. Now, CDRs is called competency development reports. So generally, need to write a 3 careers episode if your course is not accredited to Engineering Australia, or maybe if you are from Pakistan and if you have done engineering back in Pakistan, but it's under the Washington Accord, still you don't require CDRs. Here, onshore, we normally ask that you should go in an accredited pathway, or if you're not, then CDRs is also good. But again, it's an extensive process. Then you require more time to write the CDRs. And ultimately, there is a risk that if Engineering Australia might find any plagiarism on your work, they may ban you for 1 year.
Mhm.
So rather than taking those all hassle, it's a wise decision to always go with an accredited pathway. So this is how it works. Now, India, Pakistan, Australia, UK, China, and there are some other countries which comes under the Washington Accord. But now then you need to see out whether your course in the university comes under that one as well. So if you search on a Google Washington Accord signatories, you find the signatories out there, and then you can look into the list of courses in the university.
Yeah. So now we discussed about the courses which in which we can go with the skill assessment without this work experience. Can you suggest us some best courses leading to the PR pathway? But even if it includes work experience, it should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, obviously, as I said, nursing.
Yeah.
Nursing is one of the popular courses. So if you have good English, then go with the nursing. Then second one would be the early childhood teachers. Now they are very popular, and we are one of the first ambassadors which really push people to go with the early childhood. Third ones are in my list is the trade occupations. So for instance, if you do commercial cookery, you could automotive, you go with painting and decorating, you do metallurgy or metal fabrication, or even I these days normally suggest lots of people to do hairdressing.
Yeah.
Now, hairdressing is in most of the state lists. People don't understand that part, and there are heaps of jobs available. If you go to the supermarkets or even to the big shopping malls, you'll see that they require hairdressers.
Yeah.
Even on the shops, they put that we require hairdressers. So demand is high, and then it's the future. Go with this one. So that all trade courses are good. Then we have engineering courses like civil engineering draft person, or in civil engineering design, then telecommunication. Then you can go with a bachelor's program like electrical, biomedical, telecom. So these are engineering qualifications which are also in the top priority. Then we have social workers and community workers. Now, these two occupations also don't require work experience if you fall under the accredited course. If not, then you require 720 hours of work experience, but generally you find those work.
Mhm.
So these are the good occupations to go for. Even though, last but not the least, IT. So if you're a cybersecurity specialist or a computer system network engineer, business analyst, system analyst, developer programmers, all are in the PR list, even in the lots of states to offer them.
Mhm.
And ultimately, if you don't fall under this one and you don't want to do these courses, then you can do a management accounting courses as well. It's more about getting a skill assessment. So if you have a 1 year experience post study, then you can go with the VETAS as any of the skill assessment, you can do it. Accountants are good as well. Lots of accountants recently got the invites on very low points as well, even to the states. So hey, it's more about to explore and speak to a right person for the right guidance.
Yeah. Okay, so the right person for the right guidance is right here. So if you need to discuss more about this, you can contact us on 0435600610, and you can book the appointment with him to meet him or to speak to him directly as well, as per your scenario. Moving further to the next question we have here, we talked about the courses in which we need the work experience for the skill assessment. So what are the challenges a person can face while getting the work in their occupation itself?
This the first and the foremost challenge is your visa status. Okay, so if you are on a temporary visas, or you are on a, say on a work visa like 485 or 408, you're sometimes dependent on your employer, and sometimes you have a limited working rights on a student visa. So from July onwards, you'll get 24 hours per week.
Yeah.
So that leads to a very big question mark to the employers whether to hire you or not. Because generally, as an employer, myself as well, we look for full-time people who wanted to work on a permanent employship. Employship. So that's where we are reluctant to give the jobs.
Yeah.
That's the challenge all the students or the temporary visa holders get it. Because what's the future? So that's where they won't be able to grab the job, and ultimately they won't be able to apply for the skill assessment. Now, lots of occupations like IT, engineering, or accounting, they have a professional year program.
Yeah.
So you can do a PY as well. PY leads to skill assessment as well. So if you're an engineer, you won't be able to find job, do a PY. If you're an IT, so again, for PY, it's an added course for the engineers, because they only require CDRs to write, or engineers, Washington Accord accredited. So they are all safe. But IT and accountants, they either need to, do good English or to go with a PY. And specifically for ACS, you require 1 year of post-study experience. So that is really tough to get it.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges you normally get it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for answering this question, Anil. So we will be taking a short break right now, and we will be right back.
Hello everyone, this is Anil Khwaja, Registered Migration Agent and co-founder ThinkHack Consultants, inviting you to one of the biggest open day happening at ThinkHack Consultants on 17 June. That is on Saturday, starting from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. There would be exciting activities happening, lots of scholarships. We would be providing you on-spot admission services. A counselor will lodge your application without any further ado on the same day. What you need to do is to bring your documents along with the application form. If you don't have it, then we will be providing you that services as well. We also would be waiving up to $500 enrollment fee to your applications. For instance, if any of the colleges have an enrollment fee, this will be waived by ThinkHack Consultants just only for you. So don't miss and join this education open day.
Welcome back, everyone. So before proceeding with my next question, I would like to inform you all that we have organized our open day on 17th of June, Saturday, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. You can visit us directly to our office, level 3105 Queen Street. You will be able to get amazing services. We can do on-spot admission application, and we can waive off your up to $500 enrollment fee for the colleges as well, and a lot of more services as well. So if you want more information, do contact us, and we will let you in for our open day. All right, Anil, moving to the next question. So like you were telling us before, that there is the good English requirement for accountants and everything. So I would like to know, how much is the English requirement for accounting, IT, engineering, and other occupation after study in Australia?
Okay. So generally people have two perspectives. One is to apply for PR. The other one is to get the skill assessment done. Now, lots of body has different English requirements for each of the occupations. So let's take with the body to body.
Yeah.
Now, first, accountants. So 3 bodies, CPA, IPA, and CAA, all requires to have a IELTS 7 each in academic.
Okay.
So they don't accept general IELTS. Now, you can do PT because PT don't have any academic or PT, so PT is fine. Apart from that, you can also do OET or CAE. They don't have any academic or general, so that's perfectly fine. So these, so in short, accountants require 65 each in PT or 7 each in IELTS. Academic, that's the one. Now, all VETASys, the body which does the skill assessment, lots of managers and all, they don't require an English. So you don't need any English for that one. Now, the third body, which is more common, is the IT, Australian Computer Society. They don't require English as well. The fourth ones are Engineers Australia. Now, Engineers Australia requires you to have minimum 6 each, or there are other ways to waive that one as well. So there is a good clip which I have, I think the video I have recently published. You can check that one. That has extensive information about how to get waived if you are in Australia. You have studied 2 years in Australia, so it will waive your English condition to Engineers Australia.
Yeah.
Now, another which we've spoken about, AITSL.
Mhm.
They have very high English requirements. Either you have a 4 year study in Australia that simplifies your skill assessment, you don't require any English, or you should have at least IELTS academic. Now, overall 8, reading, writing needs to be 7.7, speaking and listening needs to be 8, and it has to be IELTS academic only. So if you meet that one, then only you meet the AITSL requirement. Otherwise, 4 years of study in
Okay.
Australia.
Then 4 year of study is a better option.
Absolutely. So I would definitely second to go with the Bachelor of Early Childhood or grad diploma with the 3 years prior study if you have it.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
No, yes.
Okay, so in regards to our further questions, like we have covered everything in regards to the skill assessment, but we will be discussing about our bonus topic now. So, of course, to get into the skill assessment, you first have to study here as well, meet the study requirements as well. And one part of while applying for the admission is the GT statement. So now our next question is, what is the importance of GTE?
Very good question. Now, again, before that one, as Aman said, that we are doing an open day. So it's an education open day. So everybody can come, especially in terms of change of course, applying to the new university. You wanted to get more information about the courses and whatever we have discussed today. We can definitely give you a one-to-one more guidance about that one. And obviously the on-spot admission services. In that session, we would be also discussing about GT. Now, the GT is also called, which we have discussed, I think 2 weeks back in our live as well. That's called a genuine temporary entrant criteria. Now, what's the importance of GT? Now, GT is an integral part of the visa. If your GT or the genuine temporary entrant statement is weak, then ultimately your visa will get refused.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a very strong and a confined GT. Not a very lengthy one, not a very small one, but that covers all the points. Now, GT mainly comes under the Minister Direction.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a Minister Direction 63, which falls under the GT criteria that requires you to explain why you have taken this course, what would be the benefits, what are your economic and financial ties back home as well.
Yeah.
Now, recently there is another video which I have published, especially the political situation, economic situation. If back country you have this insurgencies, then it's going to be difficult to get the visa.
Yeah.
So that is also impact that comes to the GT. So what, again, the GT is like, if you're a genuine temporary entrant, then they will give you.
Yeah.
If you have an intention to apply for permanent residency, then ultimately they won't give you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to put any intention that you would work in Australia, you'll apply for TI. Even though you have an option to go with a TI, it's quite straight away, quite explanatory. But again, don't put obvious things in that. Just make sure that you have put that you will come back as soon as you finish your study. That's the ultimate goal. Then you should know the work conditions and these all stuff. That is the importance of GT. Yeah.
Okay, and like you mentioned that it should be very concise and it should be strong. So how to make it concise and strong?
Go with the headings. So you should have at least 5 to 6 headings in the mind. First, the introduction, then why the course, why this college, why Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the 4 important ones. And then what would be the return of investment?
Yeah.
So say if you're spending $50,000, so how are you going to get the return back?
Return
So
back.
obviously you'll go to Pakistan or India, get a business or anywhere around the country and get the business or jobs and then get a return back.
Yeah.
Then last but not the least, the financial requirements and your economy and political situation in your home country. So you can mention that we are stable, we are in a certain city, they're all good and everything is fine. So the greenery about what you have to put into your statement. And then last but not the least, your closing statement that how this everything will help you out in your future. So you can also put, what jobs you would be doing it. So these all comes under that one.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, if the 5, 6, 7 headings you put it, then it will cover the GT for you.
Okay, and like you mentioned about the minister direction,
Yes.
Can you please give more information on that?
Yes. So generally what happens, every regulation, so say if you have a law, if you go to Migration Act, there are lots of act. Then act, that is more explained into the regulation. So what exactly the act is all about. The regulations, after the regulations, there are the directions. So how to go with that specific regulation. For instance, if they have come up with genuine temporary entrant criteria, the minister will give you a direction what exactly he wants from you. So minister means the Department of Home Affairs,
Yeah.
your case officer. So what exactly they want. So in the direction, they have mentioned different headings. So they have covered that you should have this thing, you shouldn't have this thing, your country should be political stable, financially stable, you have social and economic ties back home. So these all directions they have put in there, and then you need to follow and make a statement accordingly, or your documents also are supporting that one. For instance, if you have a big gap and they feel like that you have more incentive back your home country because you haven't studied or worked for last 10 years, ultimately in Australia you come and earn more.
Yeah.
So they'll reject the application. So they have given the certain directions, and then you have to elaborate and put in the right direction into your statement and to the documents. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that. So we will be moving towards our next questions. Along with that, we will be answering the comments, the questions we are getting now. So we will be right back after a short break, and we will be with you shortly. Thank you.
Do you know that you don't require any release if you have done a 6 months of your principal course? Now, lots of students get panic. They really have been misguided by the agents that you have to complete your course, or if you have done 6 months, still you require the university to give you the release, but that's not the case. What you can do, you can jump to the other university as soon as you finish your 6 months of principal course, and then formally advise your previous university that you have moved to a new university. There are other ways to do it as well. There are lots of concurrent options happening at the moment. So if you still need help with this one, feel free to contact us. We are more than happy to assist you. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back with the more questions, and we will be answering and covering all your doubts which you might have for the GT. So, like Anil, you were telling that a GT should be concise. My all questions are related to your previous answers only. So, yes. So, what is the word limit for the GT statement?
I think recently they have reduced down the word limit. So I think it's somewhere around 300 words. So you need to be very specific, like 1 or 1.5 page of the statement that covers everything. So you need to be very precise, like your basic introduction, what your name is, what qualification you have done it, and then about your course, 2 or 3 lines, and then about the Australia, that why you wanted to study in Australia, and then similar. You can increase your word limit. There's no they won't be penalizing you. So say if you go up to 500, 600 words, should be fine. But the more precise, more easier for the case officer to read, and straight away they grant you the visa, hopefully, if you meet all the requirements. So this is how it happens. But word limit, definitely, it's somewhere around 300 to 500 words. So this is where you need to write the GT here.
Yeah, so like you informed us about the headings which they should be mentioning there. So what is the exact information a student should be putting when it comes to the education history, employment, family ties, and everything? And what information they can put for the financials as well?
All right. So yes, so this needs to be taken care in parts. So first is obviously the education. So education, you need to be very simple. You can't just put all the dates that when you have done your intermediate or year 10 or whatever you have done back studies, or how many percentage. You need to be very precise with the information that, say, for instance, if you have done a bachelor of education, you need to put it like that's my last qualification, bachelor of education. If you need to put a year, you can put, but say if it's a more gap in there, say in 2010 you have done it and now you're applying for a student visa, so don't put the year as well. That will saves you. So because obviously if the case officer is reading a GT and they feel like everything is fine, you have done a good job writing a precise the GT, they'll grant you quickly. The more you put, more questions they will raise, and then the more investigation go into your application as well, and that's where lots of people get rejections. So that's for education. Work experience, you can put obviously what you have done in last couple of years if you're working, obviously your salary part as well if it's on the higher side, or you can put like whatever you will get in the next once you finish the course. So say if you have spoken to your employer, or your employer is happy to give you the job, or so that's perfectly fine. You can resume your job after 2 years of study or 1 year of study. Lots of employers do wait for their ex-employees to come back after the study. So you can put that one, that my job is secure in Pakistan, or maybe in India, wherever you are. So that is also you can write. Then in the financial statement, you need to write your 1 year expense and how you're going to spend the next 1 year expense. Now, living expense is somewhere around 21,000 something. You need to add that one along with your 1 year tuition fee and 3,000 travel. So you add up this one, put that one, and then how you're supporting your financials, like who is supporting, how you're doing, like either through the bank statements or savings, whatever. So that you need to mention very small, like very precise. Again, it doesn't need to be very long, that which bank, which branch, and all those stuff. Don't go with that one. They already would be asking in the visa application.
That's right. And when we so we are putting all the right information in the GT, but does the student have to put their previous visa refusals as well in the GT?
Technically, yes, but my perspective is you won't put much of the history. So you can definitely commit that when I'll be in Australia, I'll be meeting or comply with all the visa conditions.
Yeah.
But don't put much of the history, because they will automatically ask you in the visa application. So just add that one, make GT very precise. If you have traveled to few countries, you can definitely put that I have traveled to this country, and a short paragraph that's. But don't put more of the refusals out there. That may go to negative impact. But again, I'm again repeating, you have to mention everything into your visa application. You cannot skip that one.
Yes.
GT has a low word limit type, so you need to have very specific information out there. But application, you have to put everything. Even though in last 10 or 15 years back, you have got a, say, lots of people comes to me and ask that I have got a USA refusal 15 years back. And I was very young or very small. My parents did it, but you have to mention this one. You cannot skip this one. That's for sure. Yeah.
All right. And when it comes to the refusals from other countries,
Yes.
what about that? Do they have to put that too?
As I said, put it in the visa application.
Okay.
Australia, US, UK, whatever. Even though if you get a refusal from Dubai or somewhere, if you have been deported from XYZ country, you have to mention that one. GT statement itself would not contain that one, but yes, visa application, you have to. You cannot skip that one.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So all the queries, all the doubts we have in regards to the GT, in regards to the skill assessment are covered. I would like to mention once again that we are having the open day on 17th of June, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in our Melbourne office on Saturday. So do visit us and try to get the best of the services and best of the offers we are giving on that day. So now we will be moving to the questions we have here. So this is from Usman. Hi, sir. My question is that 70K is required for 186 DE or not?
All right. So Usman, at the moment, they haven't mentioned anything about the 186 applications. So if you lodge a nomination application, visa application prior to 1st July, then you don't need to go with the new TSMIT, that is 70K. Now, legislation has not come as yet. There should be a transitional or godfathering arrangements where if you have already lodged the application, your nomination is already approved, then you don't need to comply with the new rules. But yes, there are chances that TSMIT, if it's increasing for 482, they may have chances that basic salary range would go up to like a 70 for the work visas or those who are sponsoring. Then it will also impact to 186. But again, you have good opportunity to lodge the application prior to 1st July 2023 in order to avoid this new rule.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Anil. So we are winding up our live session today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us directly as well on 0435 600 610. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are you looking to apply for a student visa? Are you looking to convert your visitor visa to student visa? This is the right time. Join our open day happening on 17 June, Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and our counselors will apply your on-spot admissions without any delay. That will lead you to apply for your visa application as early as possible. So don't miss out this opportunity. We also would be waiving up to $500 enrollment fee with massive scholarships.